This is Virtuoso lesson 154 with Bernard Kitchens, and it is December 23, 2015. And let's begin with running through the scales to octaves.
Nope.
All right. Good enough.
That again?
That was good enough. Go on to the next one. Alright, so hang on a second. So again, the issue is in the right hand. When you hit the octave, you've got to think about what your next finger is. And remember that you can always replace a thumb with a fifth finger, or at least imaginarily. So if that was a fifth finger in your right hand, what would be next?
Fourth.
There you go. That's all you have to think through. That's the total thought process. Try that one more time, just keeping that in mind. Good. Next one. Very nice. Really nice. That one especially, because you've had some issues in the past on the four black key one. That was awesome. Nice. By the way, let me just make one comment real quick. Not that you did anything wrong just then. But one thing to consider is whatever you do, if you stay centralized in the keyboard, meaning from where you start to where you're going to end, that it's the most central location, that actually provides the easiest way to do a scale or an arpeggio. Because for one, it's the center of the hearing range. For two, it's the center of your body. All those things. But I can't be the judge of what is easiest for you or what is most central. You have to. So some of them seem to be a little bit, not saying what you're doing, but some scales, you know, shift a little to the right or to the little to the left, and you've got to be the judge of what you think the best is for you. Like, just keep that in mind, that it helps. Go ahead. Nice. Cool. Very nice. Nice. Yeah, watch 3s and 4s. Very nice. And one more. And again, what's the, can you say what the identifying, can you say
Say it again.
can you tell me what the identifying rules are for this particular scale? What to look for? This is the unique one that starts on a white note.
Yeah.
I'm just going to tell you, but try to remember it. It's that all thumbs are always aligned on this one. Always.
Together.
And it's the only one. It's the only white note scale that's like that. So if you mess up, it's because you chose the wrong fingers to keep your thumbs from aligning. Nice. And the one reason why I asked the question instead of having you just go in is if you could remember that so you can verbalize that to yourself, the actual act of verbalization helps confirm it for future reference. So anyway, let's run through just the chords of the arpeggio. So both hands simultaneously and just play each one. Nice. Let's do hand over hand. Blocking first, then the arpeggio. So going through all those, I think that's probably the fastest we've done the scales and the hand over hand arpeggios to date, and it looked really good. I mean, so it looks like your field of vision over the keyboard is good. So if you can take that and just realize what you just did with the arpeggios, blocking out those chords, seeing those chords, and that's what you've got to take now to the next step of when you're doing individual hands. So let's run one hand at a time just for the first one. So let's go back to red violet. Start with the right hand, the 1 2 3 1 2 3. Cap it with your fifth finger. So start it lower. Okay. And just keep running it. All right, let's try left hand. Start with your fifth finger. All right, so let's do 2 sets of back and forth. Go right hand once, left hand, right hand, left hand.
Now left hand.
Yeah. So you notice how much easier it is to make mistakes when you rapidly transit from one to the next. So that's what you're trying to compensate for, and realize and somehow project the physiology before you ever start touching those keys of what the distances are and how you're going to maneuver to see if you can minimize those mistakes. Go for it. Nice. Cool. Let's do one more set of each. Good. All right, so let's try both hands together now. second. Stop. Let's go back and forth one time. Right hand, then left hand.
Oops.
Good. And together. Slow. Cool. If you can answer this question, tell me. If you can't, that's fine. But so you got right hand, left hand, and together. Is any one of those easier than the other? Are they all different? Are they all the same? What do you think?
I don't know why I felt like the left hand is different.
I agree, it is. And it's because of the ergonomics of how it lays out. What about right hand versus both hands?
Right hand is kind of harder than both hands.
So do you think because when you're dealing with both hands, you've got the left hand to help as a guide with the right hand?
Oh, it could be, yeah.
It's one way to think about it. That would be my assessment of it. And so that's why I'm actually having you do back and forth versus together, and then asking the question, because I'm wanting you to see just from every single possible perspective how the ergonomics of your hand, basic physiology, is affecting what you're doing and why you're doing it. So the point being that, let's just say the left hand, when you're playing both hands together, that the left hand is helping to act as a guide. Then by recognizing that, you can use that to your advantage by, putting your thought process more aligned towards that. It's no different than when you do scales. Generally, one hand leads and one hand follows, right?
Yep.
Same concept. So, I mean, it's slightly different, but very similar. So let's do one more back and forth, and then together again. We'll just keep doing it together. But I'm wanting you to see it for what it is, because you're the one that ultimately has to, figure out how to master it. I can only give you all these guide points. But you're the one, you got to internalize it, however that is. So let's run through it again, back and forth and then together. Okay. Good. Let's just keep running both hands together. Let's do it like 4 more times. And by the way, again, try not to speed up or slow down. Try to pick a speed where you never have to stop, because your rhythm absolutely affects your ability of success. let's take an aside for just a second, and something we've never done before. So the color red is associated with the historical and traditional alphabetic music language of C. And you've got 7 alphabet letters, A through G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. The way that you're going around the circle by closely related keys, where we're like going from red, violet to red, orange to orange, is by the step of a fifth. Again, so if you put your thumb, let's just go ahead and do it for the sake of doing it. You put your right hand thumb on red, violet, and your fifth finger, the fifth note of the scale is going to be on red, correct? So it's a fifth based on the idea of scale degrees, not actually 5 notes or 5 fingers. It just means 5 notes of a scale, because literally there's more than 5 notes if you include the black notes between those steps. So it's fifth based on the idea of scale steps. So when you get to G, you wrap back around to A again. So let's say we're starting at red, and red is C. So if you start with C and just count 5 alphabet letters, what's the next scale?
G.
G. And if you start with G and you count 5 alphabet letters, what's the next scale?
D.
Do it again. Keep going. What's next?
A.
A. What's next?
E.
E. Okay. What's next after E?
B.
B. What's next after B? Play the scale of B, which is yellow-green. Play the first 5 notes of the scale. There you go. That's how you know what the 5th note is. And what is that note name?
Wait.
So alphabetically, start with just B, and forget about the idea of sharps and flats, because I know you're seeing that it's going to have to be that. But what is the 5th alphabet letter from B? You don't even have to play it. Just count from B. B.
Wait, just within the scale?
Yeah.
Okay, so F.
F. That makes that note F sharp instead of G flat. So go ahead and put your finger on F sharp. Go 5 scale degrees. What's the alphabet letter from F? If you went from F, what's it go to?
To there.
Yeah, but what is it?
C.
C. That makes that C sharp instead of D flat. Okay?
Okay.
So that's how you figure it out. I'm just saying that so that, so that you can relate to the language of sharps and flats coming up shortly, or as we're getting into this, in the traditional way, beyond color. Okay? So we started with red, violet, which is what? If we go backwards from C, if we go, retrograde order through the alphabet from C, and you go backwards, a 5th from C is what?
F.
F. Yep, and because it's a white note that it's F as well. So that actually that's where we started this whole process of going through the scales. So anyway, we were just practicing F or red violet. So we're going to go to 5th to the clockwise direction to the right. which is going to be C. So let's now do, with both hands, the red or the C arpeggio. Both hands. Just keep doing it. So don't go so fast that you have to stop. Try to keep that same pace where you can be constant. Nice. Let's stop right there. All right, so what comes after C, if we're going clockwise, which is in alphabetical order?
G.
G. Let's do the G, which is also red-orange. So same finger pattern as we already learned previously, right? Okay, stop for a second. You're starting to speed up a little bit. I get why, but I would just, at this point, keep it the same speed for now. You're going to do much better. Cool, stop for just a second. So one thing about keeping the same speed is that because it is so tied to rhythm, as soon as you adjust tempo, and let's just say that you were doing it at a speed of 50 beats per minute, and then all of a sudden you jump up to a speed of 60 beats per minute. That is a huge increase in jump. Even though the tempo doesn't feel like it, it's huge. And it's huge enough where all of a sudden you start second guessing where your fingers are going to drop. So by playing to a consistent pace the entire time, it actually allows your muscles to adapt to exactly where they need to go. Where at some point you can get where you can just increase and decrease at will. And that's ultimately what you want, but we don't want it now, for sure. It's better just to be very boring and mundane and keep it the same speed. So, that being in mind, try to keep the same pace, and let's start back again at F, red, violet, and let's go through the first three in order. So you're going from F to C to G, one after the next. Same pace. Try to keep going. Cool, stop. So now we're going to the next one, and just jump right in, assuming that you already know what you're going to do without questioning it, because it has the exact same finger pattern because it's all white notes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Don't stop. Keep pushing even if you miss the notes. Cool. Very nice. All right. So let's try all three again. So again, your goal is, even if you're hesitant on what note's coming next, focus on keeping the same rhythm, knowing that the stretch between each note is exactly the same, and see if that carries you through. Start lower than that. Yep. Okay. And just see if you can make it work by keeping the same rate of speed. Just project that you know what they are. It's sets of three, then a gap. Sets of three, then a gap. Nice. Jump right, go down to C. Down to C. Good. 4 octaves only. Jump right in. Same pace. Keep pushing. Keep pushing. Keep pushing. Keep stretching. Watch that gap. Uh-huh. Good. Jump down and go to red, violet. I mean red, orange. And do 4 octaves only. Go for it. Stretch, stretch. Good. So try to, again, stop, stop, stop. So try to, again, let's go through all three one more time. Try to just keep pushing. And again, you're focusing on speed and where the gap is between the three sets, and see if you can make it work just by feel, not having to think quite so much about the literal notes. Awesome. Go down to C. Down. Good. Jump right in. Keep pushing, stretch, get that gap. Nice, go down to red, orange, and jump right in. That set was so much better. Hardly any mistakes. It just, every aspect was smoother. Every single thing. That was good. Let's do it one more time, the whole set. So you're starting with red, violet. And go down. Good. Keep stretch. Get that stretch. Go down. Good. Good, good. So one thing is, almost all your mistakes are when you come down instead of going up. And most of them, when they occur on the very first octave of coming down, where you're trying to convince yourself of where the stretch is. Have you noticed that? Okay, as long as you're aware of it. So the point, all I'm pointing it out is so that if you know it's true, you're trying to convince yourself on the way down to just take that leap of faith where that stretch is and just hit something and see if it works out. That's kind of what you have to do until you get comfortable with making the move. It's like other things that we've done. As long as you hesitate, you'll actually start remembering the hesitation instead of the actual step at some point. So that's one thing. Okay, so last time we went to the next scale and discovered that indeed it had the same fingering. So what is after G? And what's the name of it? Yeah, but what's the alphabet name of it?
D.
D. Okay. So we're going to do D. And what are the first 5 notes of the D scale? So what's the chord for D or orange? Yeah, so it's got the black note. It's the first one. Same fingering, slightly different ergonomics because you do have that black note, but it's still the same fingering. Let's go ahead and try it. Let's go ahead and try it with both hands simultaneously from the get-go, keeping that same rhythm. So what you're doing is you're trying to rely as much off of physiology right now as anything instead of paying too much attention to the literal notes. You're trying to remember how it feels as if you've already played it. Stretch and go. Keep going. Keep pushing. And stop right there and go back.
Wait.
Yeah, hit that one and go back down. Keep pushing. One more. Keep going. Stretch it and go. Good. Let's do it again. So again, try to focus on the rhythm and keep going. Keep going. And again. Nice. Keep that same pace. Awesome. Keep going. Just keep pushing. One more. Nice. What comes after D? What's the next scale going to be? Next arpeggio going to be?
A.
A. Play the chord of A. Major chord of A.
Wait, just play D, right?
You just played D. Now you're going to play A. What's A? Ah. So D. Wait. D was what color?
Oh, it was orange.
Yep. So what's next?
Oh, yellow.
Yellow, orange, right?
Yep.
Okay. So, does it have the same? Does it have the same ergonomics as orange?
Yeah, it should.
Yeah, it should. So, without even looking at it, we're gonna make an assumption that it's the exact same fingering. So let's just jump down an octave, and let's start lower. And let's play this scale, this arpeggio, and keep that pace exactly the same. Keep pushing forward as if you already have played it before. Yeah, stop for a second. Stop for a second. Go a little faster, the speed that you were going, even though you've never played it. Stretch and go. Start again. Just start again. Go down, and make sure you only go 4 octaves. It'll make it easier to get started on this. Go for it. Just stretch your hand out for that chord and go. One more. That's all right. Start again. Make sure you do 4 octaves and stop, and then come back. Okay. Second finger in the left hand. Don't stop now. Hit it. And get to your octave. And then come back. Okay. Don't stop. Stretch, stretch, stretch right there. Stretch. White note. A little farther. Gotta get to yellow, orange. You're looking for yellow, orange, and yellow. To yellow. Stretch, stretch, stretch. Yellow. Second finger in the left hand. Let's try it again. Go ahead. Don't worry about it. Start again. You're doing well. Stretch. Stretch, stretch, stretch to yellow, stretch to yellow. Stretch. Nice, and again. Stretch. Stretch. And again. Jump right in.
Again.
And again. Awesome. One more time. Okay, you're currently on yellow and A. What's the next alphabet letter?
E.
E. Okay. So you're on yellow and E. No, you're already there. You're already on yellow. Yellow and E. Let's jump in and do it. Jump down an octave. Has the exact same structure. So assume it's the same fingering, because it is. Right there. Get your hands spread out to that chord and jump right in. Get your hands spread out to the octave. Both hands. Spread out and go. So you got your, there you go. Keep going, push it, go, don't stop. And back. Stretch. Okay. I mean, stretch right here. Sorry. Stretch. Stretch. There you go. Nice. Cool. All right. So now we've gone through 3 keys that have the exact same structure in a row. So let's view that as a set, and let's do those 3 in order. So we're starting with D, which is orange, and drop down an octave to start, and jump right in. So every one of these is going to have that black note in the middle. Hit it and go. Good. Go to A. Yep. That's good. Jump right in. One, two, three. Try it again. Spread your hand out to the octave to get started. Spread your hand out to the full octave in both hands to get started. Now, where's your 1, 2, and 3s? Okay. Now, yeah, that's the chord, but you need to spread out so you've got your hands ready to go. Okay, go. Spread out to the octave. Spread your fingers. That'll get you going. There you go. Back down. So stretch to start. To yellow. So start. There you go. Hit it. And stretch. 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 That was close. Let's do that one more time. Start on yellow, orange. Stretch. If you stretch to the octave, then all your fingers go where they need to go. Okay. Stretch. Go to the next one, which is yellow. And E. Stretch to the octave and go. Stretch. Keep stretching every time you cross over. So you got to keep your hands spread normally. Stretch right there. Stretch. Try it again. Okay, let's do all three again. Go back to orange, which is D. Spread your hands out and start going. Try to just jump right in. All right, yellow, orange. A. Spread your hands out and start going. Good. Stretch. Nice. And yellow and E. That was awesome. So what that showed you was that the rhythm matters, learning the time, learning the distance of the stretch on each one matters, and that if you keep it consistent, you can start advancing through these keys very rapidly because they all have a very similar ergonomic feel to them. Subtle differences. Everyone has just a subtle difference, but very, very similar. So that's 6 out of the 12 that you've got at this point. And done in pretty short order. So that's pretty awesome. And considering that you got your scales back in hand, so again, the real difference is between the scales and the arpeggios is the scales are a contracted hand position of hand over hand motion. And then when we go to the arpeggios and I keep saying stretch to the octave, immediately when you set your hands down for the new key, you're already stretching to the octave. That gets you set because every time you're doing hand over hand, you're automatically, it's in an expanded mode. You see what I'm saying by all that? Yeah, I mean, that's really the key. It's rhythm, it's expansion versus contraction. Say, constant speed. So that was awesome. And I mean, it was incredible from yesterday, because yesterday was the first time we introduced the key of D with the black note in the middle, which was hard. And all of a sudden we added 2 more within 10 minutes. So it shows you how your muscle memory can just carry forward. It's not really, to me, so much about thinking about the individual notes. It's thinking about the structure of your hand and the muscle memory. That's what you're trying to develop. So anyway, let's leave it at that. Very, very cool. That'll conclude lesson 154 with Bernard Kitchens on December 23, 2015.